funny, but here's that rainy day. Here's that rainy day they told me all about, and I laughed at the thought that it might turn out this way. Where is the worn out wish that I threw aside after it brought my lover near? Funny how love becomes a cold, rainy day. Funny that rainy day is here. That worn out wish that I threw aside after it brought my lover near. Funny how love becomes a cold, rainy day. Funny how we use and then we simply throw away dreams that you should save for such a rainy day. Funny that rainy days here. When you're gone and I'm all by myself and I need your caress, I just think of you, and the thought of you holding me near makes my loneliness soon disappear. Though you're far away, I have only to close my eyes and you are back to stay. I just think of you and the sadness that missing you brings soon is gone and this heart of mine sings. Yes, I love you so, and that for me is all I need to know. I will wait the sun falls from out of the sky. For what else can I do? I will wait for you, meditating how sweet life will be when you come back to me. Yes, I love you so, and that for me is all I need to know. I will wait for you till the sun falls from out of the sky. For what else can I do? I will wait for you, meditating how sweet life will be when you come back to me. Meditating how sweet life will be when you come back to me. Meditating how sweet life will be when you come back to me. Meditating how sweet life will be. What a day this has been, what a rare mood I'm in. Why, it's almost like being in love. There's a smile on my face for the whole human race. Why, it's almost like being in love. Oh, the music of life seems to be like a bell that is ringing for me. And from the way that I feel when that bell starts to peal, why, it's almost like being in love. What a day this has been, what a rare mood I'm in. Why, it's almost like being in love. There's a smile on my face for the whole human race. Why, it's almost like being in love. Oh, the music of life seems to be like a bell that is ringing for me. And from the way that I feel when that bell starts to peal, I would swear I was falling, I could swear I was falling. Why, it's almost like being in love. Oh.
Did you ever want to play your ukulele with a friend? Well, then COVID hit and play-alongs came quickly to an end. So we virtualized and put the chords and lyrics all online. So join us every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So join us every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And welcome everyone to Wednesday, our weekly Wednesday night play-along. If you're new, we are glad you're here. I had a few people message me saying it was their first time. How do they join in? Where do they get the songs? So I know we've got some new folks, so welcome to the new folks. If you are new, just to give you an idea, a couple times a month we've got guests from the ukulele world, and then the other shows we just do a straight play along. So tonight is one of those nights that we have a guest, and we have an amazing guest. You may have seen him at a festival, you may have seen him online, you may have listened to one of his albums, but we're really lucky tonight to have Bill Wynne. Who's just phenomenal. A lot of different styles, a lot of different instruments he can play. But I'm going to bring him on so you hear him instead of hear me talking. So with that said, let's bring on Bill Wynne.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah.
How we doing?
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much. I know I said this in advance, but I want to say this here too. We are just thrilled that you're here to give of your time and talent. Really looking forward to this.
Always appreciate sharing. Thank you for the opportunity always. And hopefully this will be the first of many times we'll get to do this over the years.
My gosh, I hope so. Yeah, I had sent out some promos in advance of this, and I had a number of people ping me back and say, how did you get Bill Wynne on to come on? And I'm like, I just contacted him and asked and told him
all you had to do is tell him to DVR Jeopardy, and he had nothing better to do. So
right. So we are glad you're here, and
thank you.
You've been playing ukulele pretty much your whole life, haven't you?
50 years this year.
Wow.
And it started most modestly. My parents had a Hawaiian music troupe that performed every Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night, and they would leave me with babysitters. And eventually, the babysitters were my grandparents on my father's side, my grandparents on my mother's side. And eventually, after a couple of years of this, they just gave up and said, we're done with this kid. You're going to have to take him with you. So they started taking me on shows. And for my second birthday, somebody gave me a Sears ukulele, $29.95. And I took it on stage with me and started singing Hawaiian songs. And the rest is history, 50 years of playing the uke.
Wow. And people heard, so during the countdown, they heard you play. So if they haven't heard you before, they got an idea of, just different styles and, what you sound like. So some of that you're going to do tonight, a little bit of the chord melody. We talked and promoted. Yeah,
we'll try a few of those tunes, and then we'll talk about what goes into those. And as I've said to you before, it's hard to deconstruct what I've done for 50 years because it becomes second nature. But I've tried to do that, and we'll talk a little bit about the technique that goes into chord melody. It's a different style of playing.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. And one other thing, because the benefit that I get doing this is I get to talk to, Bill, 20 minutes or so before we start. So it's really fascinating to be able to do that. But one of the things you had mentioned, and then we'll turn things over to you, was just that intro to picking, right? Some people have only strummed. Some people have watched YouTube and they said, I've got the island strum down and I worked hard at the island strum, and now I'm going to strum every single song with the island strum. And they hear something like you play, that method, and they're like, well, I didn't know a ukulele could do that. I mean, I didn't know you could pick one string at a time. I didn't know you could have melodies within a strum. So I think this will be quite fascinating for a lot of people.
I don't know how many folks actually play like that, because I didn't listen to a lot of ukulele players in my formative years. I listened to a lot of guitar players. I listened to a lot of jazz pianists. And when they're comping behind a vocalist, because I'm primarily a singer, they're not playing on every beat or every note of the melody. They're punctuating the melody in a very syncopated way. And I think the best way to do that is with the finger style approach, because if you're strumming, it's hard to hit those syncopations. You'd have to hit upstrokes and downstrokes, and I think it's just more natural to me to do it with my fingers, and I can accentuate which strings I want to hit some harder, hit some softer, but it does take some practice.
Yeah, I bet. 50 years of practice.
50 years.
Well, I'm going to put you on the big screen and turn things over to you.
Should I have brought a ukulele? I guess that would have been a good idea. There we go.
So what do you play?
This is I am a happily endorsed Canilea player.
Yeah.
And I have a Canilea super tenor, which I tuned down a whole step just for ease of playing. It loosens the strings a little bit, and primarily because I'm a baritone player. So this is my baritone. And again, a gift from Canilea. Thank you, guys. And I play an unusual tuning because most people would think that this is the low D tuning for the baritone, but I actually play a high D tuning. So the top string is higher than the bottom string, and the reason for that is because you can get a lot of closer chord voicings by getting that top string and that bottom string very close together. So here's a chord you can't make unless you play that low D, because those strings are 1/2 pitch apart, but it's a very exotic chord. It's both a 7th and a 9th chord. And so I get a lot of those close voicings with that high D tuning. And there are very few players playing the high D tuning. I got the idea from a Hawaiian gentleman named Benny Chong. And he's widely known in Hawaii circles, but maybe not outside of Hawaii so much, except for real uke heads. And he plays a baritone with a high D tuning. And then one of his acolytes, Halehaku Siberiakaka, who plays in a group called Nue, Na Ukulele Ekolu, which are up and coming right now, with led by a gentleman named Brian Tolentino, who so many people know from the festivals. And he plays that high D tuning too. But I think there's a sum total of 3 of us playing that tuning. Wow. The thing here is you could do it with a GCEA uke as well. You just have to go with a high G instead of a low G to get those close voicings. So that's one of the keys to my sound, I guess.
Gotcha. No, it's fascinating.
But let me play a tune using this tuning, then we'll deconstruct it a little bit. This is off of one of the 2 new CDs. I can't remember which one. I did so much material. I said I need enough material for a CD. And then this was to celebrate my 50th year of playing. And then what happened was we had so much material after a year of recording, I said, let's just put out 2 CDs. And so we put out 2 CDs that are sort of parallel in their structure. They have some 70s tunes, some Broadway tunes, some pop and jazz. But let me do something a little bit poppy that everyone will recognize, and then we'll deconstruct it a little bit.
That's, that is amazing. That's awesome.
Thank you, sir.
How does that all get in your head? I mean, how do you have that memorized? That's what amazes me about someone who can do that.
The thing is, and I mean this sincerely, it's not memorized. It's sort of a parlor trick. After so many years of playing, one of the things I like to do at my shows is to say, throw out a song and I will work out that arrangement right in front of folks. Because if I know the melody internally and I can find it on the fretboard, I can harmonize it just out of my heart at this point. Knowing the chords, knowing where they lay on the fretboard, and knowing what chords go with which parts of the melody, I can just throw that together. So I never play that song the same way
Wow.
twice. It's just whatever I feel at that moment.
I just need 45 more years of practice.
Well, that's an interesting thing. I played for a long time and then gave up the uke and started playing other things. I played jazz guitar, I played steel guitar, I played bass, which was my mother's instrument. Steel guitar was my father's instrument. And then 3 years ago today, this is a very, very happy day for me because 3 years ago today is when I fell back into the uke. Pete McCarty, everyone knows Petey
Yeah,
Mac,
sure.
right? So
Yeah.
he put out a holiday challenge to do 25 days of Christmas songs on the uke. And I said to my wife, what a great excuse to dust off the uke again. And so I pulled out a uke and started doing Christmas tunes and got a number of followers. And I said, damn, I'm a ukulele player. I'd totally forgotten. And
Mm.
it was a joyous moment for me because I turned my focus back to this instrument after
Wow.
a long absence.
Wow. Well, glad you did.
Couple of things about arranging for the ukulele. First of all, I play finger style, and we talked about that. That's not natural to everybody. First of all, I wear my nails freakishly long, and so I get really upset when I break one doing the dishes. So that's not a normal occurrence for most people. But the other is that I approach the strings like an orchestra, and it's one finger per string, thumb, pointer, middle, ring, and you have to get used to assigning those fingers to those strings because you're not going to play all the strings all the time. That's one of the things about chord melody, or at least the way I play chord melody, is that sometimes you're playing one string, two strings, three strings, or all the strings, but not always all the strings all the time. So if I could teach any course, it would be how to get used to playing with your fingers instead of with the strum. And I'm going to have to devise that course because I think it would be incredibly valuable. But that's the first thing about this style, is that you have to get used to playing with your fingers, because as you heard with that tune, sometimes I hit the melody harder than the other notes in a chord just so it stands out. So the other chords are sort of the orchestral underpinning of that melody. The other thing is that you have to know, when you're arranging for chord melody, you got to know what key to do the song in. Most people would be likely to do the song in a key that they can sing in, but that's not always the key that the song sits in best on the instrument. So I tried arranging this in G for me. This would be C for the GCEA players. But if I did this, the melody would be on the top string, and this is what happens, guys. And I'm up here on the 14th fret, and nobody wants to be doing that, not with any regularity. So I chose to do it in D, which would be G for the GCEA players, because the melody is now on lower frets. So knowing the key you're going to do it in is especially important. And the goal being not to run out of fretboard. This is the goal. You don't want to be playing up here in the stratosphere. I did a workshop at Funky Frets with a jazz pop tune, and I'm up here in the 11th and 12th frets, and folks with soprano and concert ukuleles were like cursing me. They're like, why would you arrange it like this? And I'm like, I wasn't thinking clearly at all, because I'm thinking I've got a baritone, I've got loads of real estate here. but choosing the key is essential. The other thing is you have to know the melody inside and out. So you should be able to play it in any key. You should be able to move that melody all over the place, even if it's only on one string, because then and only then can you figure out what key it should be in and start to harmonize it. Then the next thing I tell people is that you don't have to play all the strings at one time. When we strum, that's the usual, right? We don't usually strum one or two strings. We're strumming all four strings. But when you play chord melody, you can get a lot of mileage out of two strings because the mind fills in stuff that's not there, information that's missing. Great jazz guitarists like Joe Pass, whom I grew up listening to, would play what he'd call a two-note chord. And anybody who knows music theory will tell you there's no such chord that only has two notes in it. But he'd say the brain fills in the missing note depending on what comes before and what comes after. And so there are songs that you can identify by just two notes. Like take this one. All I played was two notes at a time. But you can immediately recognize that as Burt Bacharach's Alfie, right? So you got to start to learn to play 2 and 3 note chords, and you can deconstruct those from 4-note chords. If you know the 4-note chords, then you can just pick 2 or 3 strings out of those chords as you need them for the arrangement. So that's sort of the foundation of my arranging is know that melody inside and out, know where on the fretboard that melody is going to lay without running out of room on the fretboard, and then start to figure out which chords go with it. Now, that last part is the magic, and it requires a lot of ear training to know what chords go with the melody. But the easiest way to go about it is to go to any of the chord charts on the internet, and there are thousands of them, and just pull up a chord chart and play the melody at the same time that you're playing those chords. And the thing that I try to tell people when playing melody and chords at the same time is it's chord melody, not chords plus melody. So when you're orchestrating for a chord melody tune, take Yesterday again. If I played it as chords plus melody, it'd sound like this. It'd sound very robotic. What you want to do is learn to hold down the chords while you're playing the melody. Let those chords ring out. And last but not least, not only do you want to know the chords to the song, but Brian Tolentino teaches this better than anybody I know. You want to know the chords in every position up and down the neck. Yesterday is a great example of this because I play what is this? This is F sharp 7th. That's an F sharp 7th. That's an F sharp 7th, 3 frets higher. That's an F sharp 7th, 4 frets higher than that. If I didn't know all of those chords, all of those F sharp 7th positions, I couldn't play that melody along with the chords because I'd be stuck down here in the 2nd fret and I wouldn't be able to reach the melody. You want to move the chords with the melody. So knowing not just the chords, but the chords in every position, and first inversion, second inversion, third inversion. There are great books on that. I wish I had written one, but knowing every F sharp 7th and every C major 7th so that you can move up and down the fretboard like that is invaluable. That's sort of the cornerstones to chord melody.
Quick question. So if somebody's dabbling, right, just getting their feet wet and doing this, I mean, what would you recommend as like the first song? I mean, is that... You could, any folk song is great. Like Michael Rode the Boat Ashore is like, let's see if I can do this. This is an example of having to know the C chord or the G chord in my case, because I'm on a baritone, in every position, but it would be like this.
So I'm playing the G here, playing the G here, 5 frets higher, playing the G here, 3 frets higher still. So it's a simple folk song with not a lot of melody to deal with. You can do it with Old MacDonald. Just have to know C, D seventh, G seventh, and C. I mean, but I think Old MacDonald's probably a good one, Greg, because the melody is known internally to everybody on the planet, and all you have to do is find the chords that go with it, and those chords are written down everywhere. I mean, you can find the chord chart to that anywhere, but it's just C, F, D seventh, G seventh, and C. I'm doing G, C, E, A in my head now, but I'm playing a baritone, so I'm sort of lying to you. But I know most of your players are going to be G, C, E, A players. So
Okay, no, that's great. That's a great tip. And you make Old MacDonald sound better than it ever has.
and when I do that parlor trick in concerts, people will ask for songs like America the Beautiful, or something that's like that should sound terrible on ukulele, but that's the beauty of it, is finding the pretty chords that go with it. You can do it with anything. You can do it with anything. But yeah, you can start off with any easy 3-chord song. You could do it with 3-chord rock from the 60s and 70s, but you just have to know that melody backwards and forwards and have that chord chart in front of you and start to overlay the melody on the chords. The trickiest thing is going to be this. It's going to be the right hand and figuring out when to hit that melody and when to hit the rest of the chord.
Cool. And just another question. Do you have any tips, advice for someone learning the melody? Because many of the people watching, right, they strum a song. They're not used to picking out the melody of how the song goes. So any tips on how to do that? Or is it just, you just sit and your ear knows the song and you pluck a string until it sounds right? And
this is where I become a ukulele cripple, because in addition to playing for a long time, I was also cursed with perfect pitch. So if you ask me to find the melody to something, I'll find it eventually. But I would say that you just noodle until you find it, and that it doesn't always have to be on the top string. If you always play the melody on the top string, you are sure to run out of fretboard eventually. But if you start on the second string and you use those top 2 strings for melody, then you have a fighting chance of having enough fretboard to do it.
makes sense. That makes sense.
Let me do another one and see if we can deconstruct it a little bit. Let me see. Something off of one of the CDs here. Let's see here. Here's a 70s tune. I wonder how many people will remember this. This is by a group called Bread.
Seriously, that's unreal.
Thank you.
Awesome. Hey, someone is asking about the strings, your strings, asking if you're using wound strings or they're.
That's a great question. I despise wound strings, and with the high D tuning on the baritone, you'd have only one wound string. So it would be this G string here. So I play all unwound strings, and I don't usually plug, but I play a brand called PhDs. And I think they're pretty unusual. You have to really Google the hell out of them to find them, but you can usually find them at like Strings by Mail or Just Strings or one of those places. But yeah, I don't like wound strings because I'm a very percussive player and I hit the strings very hard and I get a lot of that squeaky chalkboard sound, and it's not pleasant. It's not. You
Especially
need a
when you have
much better
perfect pitch.
technique. Well, yeah, but you need a much better technique than I do to not make that sound.
Okay, no, appreciate that. Thanks for answering that.
There's a couple of other techniques I think in that song that verge on the advanced, but are worth noting. So first is that when you play chord melody, you're an arranger. And I pretend that I'm like Nelson Riddle or Billy May backing up Frank Sinatra or one of the great arrangers, because you not only get to play the melody, you get to play stuff that's not the melody. So if I had just played the melody on that tune, it would sound like this. But I'm playing a counterpoint to that. So I'm playing the melody on the first two strings and a counterpoint on the third string here. So this is the melody. On this third string, I'm going down the whole time. So you get to make up melodies as you go, and that is up to your imagination. You can let your imagination run wild. And I usually just pick notes that are in the chord. So, I'm not going too far afield from what's on the page, but all those notes are in chords. So I'm playing in D here. So that chord's just a D major 7th, down to a D 7th, down to G. There's nothing unusual in the notes that I'm picking except that they're in chords that I'm already playing. The other is that this high bottom string that I keep touting, it's like I sell strings. It's like this high bottom D or high G on your GCEA ukes. You can do a couple of things with it. First of all, you can play the melody on the bottom string as well as on your top strings. So I know people worry about running out of low notes. I worry about running out of high notes. So I often play, let's see, there was a part there. Let's see. This part here, I play that melody on the bottom string because I don't have any more melody room on the top string. It doesn't go low enough, but my bottom string does. And I had to think about that when making the arrangements. Like, if you're going to do it in this key with this high D string, you're going to have to use the bottom string for melody once in a while. The other is what's called in arranging a pedal tone. And a pedal tone is a note that doesn't change for any reason. You just keep moving other notes, but the pedal tone stays the same. And so I used one of those in this tune as well. So I'm at the beginning of the tune, I'm playing this open D the entire time like this. And that D is ringing the whole time. It happens to go with all of those chords, but occasionally you get this tension. It's like, oh, it doesn't go with that chord. It's okay because the tension eventually resolves itself and you feel this tremendous musical release. So the pedal tones are good for adding a sense of mystery, because you're going to hit a pedal tone that doesn't go with your chords at some point, and then when you release that pedal tone, you get this awesome sense of thankfully.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, the playing is amazing. You're doing festivals. You had mentioned you were just at Funky Frets.
I did Funky Frets in October. I did the New Jersey Uke Fest in August, and I'm slated to do Gaithersburg in March, I believe it is.
Awesome, awesome. So, folks, if anyone's going to Gaithersburg, or this might be a good reason to go to Gaithersburg. So
there are
really,
lots of good reasons to go to Gaithersburg.
Yeah,
There are going to be at least 24 great players
yeah,
there.
I saw the lineup. That's looking good. I did.
Yeah.
Well, we got a couple more minutes. I wanted to make sure people can learn more about you. So,
Sure.
right, shameless plug time. But I'm going to put your website up on the screen right now. Okay, oh, no, it's flashing. Oh, right, let's just talk about that. I'm having this little flicker on my iPad. I'm not sure why.
I have about a half a dozen websites, but they all sort of come together at billwynmusic.com. Don't forget the silent E in Wynne. That will trip you up every time. But I guess there's also a silent N in Wynne as well. But billwynmusic.com. And that's sort of the hub of everything else that I do. Ukulele comes first. There's some steel guitar playing there as well. There's some Hawaiian music there. We didn't do anything Hawaiian tonight, but that is my first love, and go back and forth to Hawaii to perform and to record, and that's always a thrill. And so there's some of the Hawaiian music there as well.
Awesome. All right, check that out. So when you go to billwynmusic.com, it takes you to Sing with Strings. So no one freak
Yes.
out all of a sudden if you get redirected. You're going to the right spot.
I thought Sings with Strings was cool when I got it, and then I said, but your name's not in it. So I kept it and just did a bit of a redirect there. But
yeah, works perfect. Well, awesome. This has been great. And I
Thank
think
you, sir.
a lot of people the comments, I saw a number of these where people said, wow, this is way beyond what I'm capable of, but it gives me something to strive for and maybe be able to do something like that in a couple of years. So I think that is great for that reason.
I will, in the meantime, and I mean this sincerely, I will try to put together some methodology for the fingerstyle approach. I've seen some great books on this, but they're mostly in the classical vein. I haven't seen too many that do pop or show tunes or those things. So if I could bottle it, I would, but I will try.
All right. Well, Bill, thank you very much. Really good. Enjoyed it, and enjoyed talking to you too. It's been a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me. I'll stick around a little bit and maybe stick around on the chat while you guys are strumming.
Okay, fantastic. So yeah, I had asked Bill about that in advance. So if you have any questions, folks watching, if you have any questions for Bill, I'd spend the next couple minutes and ask, just so he doesn't just so we take care of those questions on the early as we can. So anyone with those questions, stick around. He's gonna join the chat, and you can ask that. But Bill, thanks again. Really, really nice meeting you, and can't thank you enough for your time and talent. It was awesome.
Thanks for having me. It was extremely a pleasure. Hope we can do it again.
Yeah, man. All right, sounds great.
Take care.
All right, bye. All right, couple things here, and then that was amazing, y'all. And that really is good. I think good comments, because if you're so intimidated by something like that, like I am, you'll never try. But if you see that's just now, will you be able to play yesterday like that? Maybe. But even if you could play, some simpler songs with the same techniques, I think all of this, every time we have a guest and see just those skills, I think it gives us all a little something to strive for. And hopefully my iPad is not having an issue. Sorry about that. Because when I went to show the screen, I couldn't show it. It was flickering. So give me just one moment. I'm hoping now when I go to this, that we see a screen. Okay, that's good because we need to see the screen when we're doing the play along portion of this. All right, perfect. So that's we'll just show that for just a moment. So that's Bill's website that we were talking about. And that's where we said Bill Wynne music goes to singswithstrings.com. All right, perfect. So let's come back here and we'll get ready for the first song. One moment, let me pull up the lyrics. Okay, so we're going to start a little slow. First song tonight is going to be What a Wonderful World. And we're going to, let me take those out. We're going to do we're not going to do an island strum. We're just going to do down, down, up. And I know it sounds simple and boring, but it sounds nice on a song like this. So we're just going to strum like this. Down, down, up. Down, down, up. And I'll go through the first part just to show you, and then we'll just go into the song. So it's just, I see trees of green, red roses too. So that's going to be the strum. Most of the song, we're going to stick with that strum. All right, and hey, I just saw Pete McCarty on there. Hey, Pete, people were talking about you earlier. Bill Wynne was actually. Pete McCarty, super guy. All right, so here we go. You ready, folks? I did no vocal exercises. Usually the first verse of the first song is my vocal exercises. All right, here we go. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred nights, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Hi, that's such a nice song. Okay, so back here, and new folks. So typically, on the show, on a night where we have a guest, we usually do 6 songs. Tonight we're doing 7. We had 6 chosen, but then I threw in a Christmas song because it's Christmas. It's after Thanksgiving, so officially we can do Christmas songs. And on the shows we don't have a guest, we normally do 10 songs and a little bit of talk. We end up usually about an hour and 15 minutes for the show. We always start on time. We always end at a slightly different time, just FYI. All right, so next song. So normally I do this song fast. I mean, like really fast. right? I hear the train a coming. Pretty fast strum, a little faster singing. But we're gonna do it a little different, just so we do different things on this show. And we're gonna slow this down a bit. I'm gonna add a chuck to this. I'm gonna go about this speed, which is pretty slow for this song. So let's roll with that. We won't talk about chucking. You'll just know that sound. That sound, that's chucking. But we're just going to go right into the song. Oh, and I want to point out one thing. Johnny Cash, a lot of songs do. Johnny Cash does this a lot. Let me stop that for a second. At the end of verses, Johnny Cash often will have like 4 measures of that chord, in this case D. So on down to San Antone. We've talked about boogie notes here before. I could do 4 measures of just D, 4 island strums in this case. But I'm going to use my pinky, and I'm going to put my pinky on the 3rd fret of the E string, just for a moment. And it's going, so let me zoom in real quick. So it'll look something like this. There's the D, right? And I'm just going to add this right here. So, and I'm not going to play it like that. That would sound kind of goofy. But I'm going to play it with my island strum, and instead of it sounding like this, right, I'm going to do this. So very small thing, very easy trip. We've talked about, like I said, we've talked about boogie notes a lot, but that's just an easy thing to do. You don't have to, but it's easy. So give it a shot, even if it's not right now during this. Give it a shot. I hear that train a-comin', it's rollin' round the bend. I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on. But the train keeps a-rollin' on down to San Antone. When I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, always be a good boy, don't ever play with guns. But I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. When I hear that whistle blowing, I hang my head and cry. Let's strum just a little bit. Those chords need to scroll up just a little bit. You can just practice that little boogie note. There we go. I bet there's rich folks eating in a fancy dining car. They're probably drinking coffee, smoking big cigars. Well, I know I had it coming. I know I can't be free. But those people keep a-moving, and that's what tortures me. Well, if they freed me from this prison, and that railroad train was mine, I bet I'll move it all a little farther down the line. Far from Folsom Prison, that's where I want to stay. And I'd let that lonesome whistle my blues away. And I'd let that lonesome whistle blow my blues away. Hey, speaking of that, might as well talk about that now. Okay, so let me pull this here. Just to give you an idea of what's coming up. Next week, just a normal play along, 10 songs, same with the week after that. Then we have our Christmas special. And our Christmas special is going to be great. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have all kinds of different Christmas songs from different performers and a few little surprises. So mark that on the calendar. I think you're really going to like the Christmas special. December 28th, normal play along song. January 4th, and I meant the reason I brought this up because we just did a Johnny Cash song. January 4th is going to be all Johnny Cash. I'm a huge Johnny Cash fan, and that's why we're having a Johnny Cash special. So that's going to be fun. Going to be a lot of fun. And that's going to be a mix of things, a lot of surprises there. And then January 11th, Christopher Davis Shannon, if you have heard him play, seen him in a festival, phenomenal. I mean, seriously, just absolutely amazing. So that's another just fantastic guest that we're just able to have here. So we really are so appreciative to these talented musicians that come on the show. It's really, really cool. Okay, let's see. I've got a little weird thing. I've seen no complaints, but on my side, my Facebook is acting a little funny. Well, Diane, that's perfect. We will try and remember to wish you a happy birthday on December 21st. Okay, so next song here. Let's go to this. All right, we're just gonna, there's nothing fancy here. C, G7, D7, E7. Nothing fancy. And for the new folks, if some of these chords seem like, oh my gosh, all I know is 3 chords, I'll never be able to play a song with 5 chords. You will. You will. All you have to do is play a song with a 4th chord, that new chord, and now you know 4 chords. And you just keep doing that. A lot of times I think people are surprised when they start naming how many chords they actually know. They're blown away by that. So you will. Hang in there. Just practice the new chords. All right, here we go. That's about what we're gonna do. Well, the south side of Chicago is the baddest part of town. And if you go down there, just better beware of a man named Leroy Brown. Now Leroy, more than trouble. You see, you stand about 6'4". All the downtown ladies call him treetop lover. All the men just call him sir. Well, he's bad, bad, Leroy Brown, the baddest man in the whole damn town. Badder than old King Kong, meaner than a junkyard dog. Now Leroy, he a gambler, and he likes his fancy clothes. And he likes to wave his diamond ring in front of everybody's nose. He got a custom Continental, he got an Eldorado too. He got a 32 gun in his pocket for fun. He got a razor in his shoe. And he's bad, bad, Leroy Brown, the baddest man in the whole damn town. Badder than old King Kong, meaner than a junkyard dog. Well, Friday, about a week ago, Leroy was shooting dice. And at the edge of the bar sat a girl named Doris, and ooh, that girl looked nice. Well, he cast his eyes upon her, and the trouble soon began. 'Cause Leroy Brown learned a lesson about messing with the wife of a jealous man. 'Cause he's bad, bad, Leroy Brown, the baddest man in the whole damn town. Badder than old King Kong, meaner than a junkyard dog. Well, the two men took to fighting, and they pulled them from the floor. Leroy looked like a jigsaw puzzle with a couple of pieces gone. 'Cause he's bad, bad Leroy Brown, the baddest man in the whole damn town. Badder than old King Kong, meaner than a junkyard dog. Yes, he was badder than old King Kong, meaner than a junkyard dog. All right, let's come back to full screen. Let's see what's next. 1 second. Is there anything else to tell you about? Oh, I did want to mention something. And I did this today because some people had commented about last week. And we did a little warm-up at the beginning. And I had talked about different percussion, different tempos of a song. So what I did was I recorded a drum beat. It's called the Country Shuffle, but it's a pretty common drum beat. And I recorded it 10 minutes worth at 100, 120, 140, 160, 180, and 200 beats per minute. So they're each a separate audio file. We've talked about drum machines and maybe apps, right? Download an app on your smartphone. If you don't want to do any of that, if you go to the Dropbox, I saw Terry, I think it was. Thank you, Terry. Put the Dropbox in the comments. And what I did, I put those audio files. They're just 10. What is it? 100, 120, 140, 160, 180. So six audio files, each at a different speed, all with the same drum pattern, but at a different speed. So if you go to the Dropbox, go to the percussions folder in Dropbox, and you will see all those files. So you can download those and just on your phone or on your computer, and you can just play them. And if you want to practice your strumming, and let's say you're not a fast strummer right now, that's okay. Start with a 100 and get comfortable strumming along with the beat with 100. Thank you, Terry. Terry is just awesome. I was on a phone call with Terry last night, Terry and Audrey. So thank you, Terry. So check that out. Download those. If we want more patterns, I can add more, but I think that's a good range because 100 is actually fairly slow. You can think most of you can strum along with that. And it goes up to 200, which is getting pretty fast. So I'm give that a shot. I wanted to mention that. All right. So this is what we're doing next. All right. It is after Thanksgiving, which means we're playing Silver Bells next. What was that? That was weird. Where are we? Right here. Lyrics. That's what I wanted to show you. All right, so Silver Bells. You ready? All right, it is after Thanksgiving, which means we can start doing Christmas songs. All right, so here is Silver Bells. Here we go. City sidewalks, busy sidewalks, dressed in holiday style. In the air, there's a feeling of Christmas. Children laughing, people passing, greeting smile after smile. And on every street corner, you'll hear Silver bells, silver bells, it's Christmas time in the city. Ring-a-ling, hear them ring, soon it will be Christmas Day. Strings of street lights, even stoplights, blink a bright red and green as the shoppers rush home with their treasures. Hear the snow crush, see the kids rush, this is Santa's big scene. And above all this bustle, you're here. Silver bell, silver bell, it's Christmas time in the city. Ring-a-ling, hear them ring. Soon it will be Christmas Day. All right. Hi. Merry Christmas early. Again, December 21st, Christmas special. And if you want, I've mentioned this previously, so I don't want to just beat this, to death. But last year's Christmas special really was awesome. So it's still on Facebook. So if you want to get in the Christmas mood and you want to play ukulele and you want to see like ukulele performers doing Christmas songs, tune into last year's Christmas special that we did. I think you'll like it. Think you will like it. Okay, so Jerry just asked a question about what's the difference of using a metronome and a drum machine. I'm just giving my opinion on this. The difference is a metronome is boring. That's all. I mean, if you went and saw a band play, there wouldn't be a metronome playing. The band would not be playing to a metronome. They have a drummer. So the drummer, it serves the same purpose. It's keeping you in time. It's keeping you to the same tempo. It's keeping everybody together. But it's a drum. It sounds like the drum machine I use. They say it was a real drummer who helped build that software that does the drum machine. So it just sounds like you've got a drummer, and I think it's just a lot more fun to play along with. So that's my 2 cents on that. The goal is the same though, and you can download the stuff that I mentioned. That's free. You can download an app on your smartphone for free or a couple dollars and do a similar thing. So I think you'll just enjoy the drum machine better. Alrighty, so let's go here. Okay, so we have never done this song before. I think virtually everybody knows this song. And we are going to do our Travis picking, our very versatile Travis picking, which is we're picking the outside strings and then we're picking the inside strings. Outside, inside, outside, inside. And for this song, we're going to do something like, we're going to come back and start the song, don't worry. Just want to give you an idea. If you could read my mind, would it? So all I'm doing is just outside, inside, over and over and over again. Now it seems boring and seems repetitive and monotonous, but when you're changing chords and when you're adding the lyrics, it's not boring and monotonous. So we could strum this. We've talked about this. But we're going to pick it. And if you have never tried picking, you can pick this song very easily. Outside, inside, outside, inside. Yes, Donna. Canadian music. All right, here we go. Again, we've never done this. Actually, let me take a little sip here. You could read my mind, love, what a tale my thoughts could tell. Just like an old time movie about a ghost from a wishing well, in a castle dark or a fortress strong with chains upon my feet. You know that ghost is me, and I will never be set free as long as I'm a ghost that you can't see. If I could read your mind, love, what a tale your thoughts could tell. Just like a paperback novel, the kind that drugstores sell. When you reach the part where the heartache comes, the hero would be me. But heroes often fail, and you won't read that book again, because the ending's just too hard to take. I'd walk away like a movie star who gets burned in a three-way script. Enter number 2, a movie queen to play the scene, bringing all the good things out in me. But for now, love, let's be real. I never thought I could act this way. I've got to say that I just don't get it. I don't know where we went wrong, but the feeling's gone, and I just can't get it back. Close. If you could read my mind, love, what a tale my thoughts could tell. Just like an old-time movie about a ghost from a wishing well, in a castle dark or a fortress strong, with chains upon my feet. But stories always end, and if you read between the lines, you know that I'm just trying to understand the feelings that you lack. I never thought I could feel this way, but I've got to say that I just don't get it. I don't know where we went wrong, but the feeling's gone, and I just can't get it back. Alright, so good song. Practice your Travis picking. I'm going to show this real quick. I've shown this many times. Doesn't matter, I'll just hold a C chord. And all I'm doing is I'm doing the outside. So I'm using 3 fingers for this particular strum. 3, there they are, 3 fingers. And I'm doing outside, so top string, well, bottom string. Closest to my chin string, the G string, with my thumb. With my middle finger, the bottom string, top string, closest to your feet. Then I'm going for the C string with my thumb. So my thumb is doing 2 strings. And then I'm using my pointer finger to do the E string. So it's outside, inside. And when it's slow, it doesn't sound like much. But when you go fast, all right, there we go. Moving on. I'm trying to look at some comments. So, yes, Kathy, that was a good song. Okay, so let's do this. I think I want to do this. I talked about the drum machine. So this is the country shuffle. I'm going to need headphones for this. And we're going to do 180 beats per minute on the drum machine. Right? Donna, yes, it is. It's a perfect song for that. And I know it sounds repetitive when you do it without the singing and the chord change, but add all that in and it sounds nice. Okay, so let's do this. Ready? Getting the song in my head. Don't worry, I'll put the chords up. So here we go. Little Randy Travis. So let's just do that first couple lines, first two lines. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So just vamp on C for a minute, and then we'll start the song. Just C over and over again, just to find that beat. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Craig, yes. Ha 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 ha. You didn't hear what I said, y'all, but you're looking out for me. I appreciate that. Okay, are you ready? A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. You may think that I'm talking foolish. You've heard that I'm wild, that I'm free. You may wonder how I can promise you now this love that I feel for you always will be. You're not just time that I'm killing. I'm no longer one of those guys. As sure as I live, this love that I give is gonna be yours until the day that I die. Oh baby, I'm gonna love you forever, forever and ever, amen. As long as old men sit and talk about the weather, as long as old women sit and talk about old men, if you wonder how long I'll be faithful, I'll be happy to tell you again. I'm gonna love you forever and ever, forever and ever, amen. F, F, C, C, F, F. They say that time takes its toll on a body, makes the young girl's brown hair turn gray. But honey, I don't care, I ain't in love with your hair. If it all fell out, well, I'd love you anyway. They say time can play tricks on a memory, make people forget things they knew. Well, it's easy to see it's happening to me. I've already forgotten every woman but you. Oh darling, I'm gonna love you forever, forever and ever, amen. As long as old men sit and talk about the weather, as long as old women sit and talk about old men, if you wonder how long I'll be faithful, well, just listen to how this song ends. I'm gonna love you forever and ever, forever and ever, amen. I'm gonna love you forever and ever, ever and ever, ever and ever, forever and ever, amen. All right. I love Randy Travis. A long time ago, I used to work at a country music station, and it was back in the days where Randy Travis was wildly popular. You know, let's do the drum machine one more time. We're gonna. I had really planned to do this last song with the drum machine, so we're gonna do it one more time. After I get a swig of liquid lozenge, it's just cough drops, liquefied. All right. So last song is. Sorry to drink in front of you. I know that's rude, but so is clearing my throat. So I gotta pick what's probably least offensive to people watching. All right, so let's. This says 174, but I think it's gonna be slower than that. Let me get a drum beat here that'll work with this song. That's probably pretty good. Okay. So in this song, let me show you one part. In the instrumental, these are single down strums. So it goes like ba ba da ba da ba. So you see all those single down arrows. We're just hitting that on the beat to go like this. And then strum. F, strum, A, strum, G. Again. I know it's hard to hit on the beat. So I actually, this drum beat is one of the ones I put on the Dropbox. It's 160 beats per minute and this drum beat. So you can download this if you want to play drum beat without me along with this song. All right, with that said, and then that very same thing happens at the very end. So it's the break and the outro, doing the exact same thing. All right, here we go. And green means what? Yes. All right, here we go. Ready? Get that. Feel that beat. Feel the beat. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea. Sail away, kill off the hours. You belong somewhere you feel free. Run away, find you a lover. Go away somewhere all bright and new. I have seen no other who compares with you. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea. You belong with your love on your arm. You belong somewhere you feel free. Here we go. F, A minor, and G. Verse 2. Run away, go find you a lover. Run away, let your heart be your guide. You deserve the deepest of cover. You belong in that home by and by. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong somewhere close to me. Far away from your trouble and worries. You belong Last two lines. All right, practice with a drum machine or a metronome, but more fun. Practice with a drum machine. All right, headphones out, ukulele off. I don't need any of this stuff. That's it, folks. Let me go full screen here. That is it. So again, new folks, really glad you're here. We do this every week, 7 o'clock Eastern. So glad you're here. Tell your friends about us. Like us on Facebook. I hear people say that. Like us on Facebook, whatever. And please join us again. All the regulars, we're just thrilled you're here. We really are. So chords and lyrics available in the Dropbox. Percussion's available in the Dropbox. All that stuff is available there. That's it. Have a great week. Rest of your week, Thursday, Friday. An incredible weekend. I hope it is a good weekend for you. I know people up north, I know it's getting cold. I see pictures and I wonder, why do people live up there? But the snow can be beautiful. That's it, y'all. Take care and come back and see you next Wednesday, 7 o'clock Eastern. Hope to see you then. Bye.
Thank you.